Hello, my name is Nishat Noor and welcome to Millennium Headlines. This week's top headlines are Omar Ekuche. We don't need foreign mediation, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Battle to retake Caracas city looms as a test of Obama's ISIS strategy. Kerry raises prospect of more sanctions against Russia over Ukraine. Somali deaths climb to 25 in hotel attack. Mayor's arrest on sedition charges deepening sense of crisis in Venezuela. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee assures Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina of peace to deal. President Obama's weekly address. We should make sure the future is written by us. Now the details to this week's top headlines. In Bangladesh, including all over the world, Bengali communities have observed Omar Ekuche, the immortal 21st February, last Saturday, paying homage to the valiant heroes who laid down their lives in the historic language movement of 1952. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina on Saturday said the country is now passing through a man-made disaster, which is not a common phenomenon but an attack on the independence, language, and the very existence of the nation.
এটা সম্পূর্ণ দানবের আক্রমণ, যে জীবন্ত মানুষগুলিকে পেট্রোল বোমা দিয়ে পুড়িয়ে মারা। এই হত্যা এটা সাধারণ হত্যা না, এটা আমার স্বাধীনতার উপর আঘাত, আমার ভাষার উপর আঘাত, আমার অস্তিত্বের উপর আঘাত, আমরা বাঙালি, সেই বাঙালি জাতির উপর আঘাত। কাজে এই আঘাত আমাদেরকে প্রতিঘাত দিয়ে ফিরে দিতে হবে এবং আমাদেরকে এগিয়ে যেতে হবে, মাথা উঁচু করে বিশ্ব দরবারে যেন আমরা চলতে পারি।
The nation must have to resist the attack with counterattacks to sustain national achievements and take forward the country and live keeping the nation's head high, she said, adding, the present situation is a lesson for us to move forward in future. In this connection, she reiterated that Bangladesh doesn't need any foreign help to resolve present crisis. We are capable enough to resolve it, she said. Sheikh Hasina said Bangladesh is a country where every individual, irrespective of religious identity, race, creed, and caste, will live with full freedom. No inhuman activity can be allowed here, she added. American intelligence agencies and the Pentagon are struggling to determine how difficult it will be to retake Mosul, the Islamic State's de facto capital in Iraq, as planning intensifies for a battle that is becoming a major test of the Obama administration's strategy to stop the spread of the terrorist group in the Middle East. The assessment will be pivotal in driving important policy and military decisions that President Obama will need to make in the coming weeks, including whether the Pentagon will need to deploy teams of American ground forces to call in allied airstrikes and advise Iraqi troops in the battlefield on the challenges of urban warfare.
As American fighter jets continue airstrikes against ISIS,
we are pursuing a long-term strategy,
and the White House faces the threat of another American being killed. A look at the U.S. military strategy.
The United States of America will continue to do what we must do to protect our people. We will be vigilant and we will be relentless.
Until recently, the strategy has been to contain ISIS rather than defeat the group. Defend Erbil and Baghdad, as well as the Mosul Dam, which is a major source of electricity for northern Iraq and which has been held by ISIS. But now, officials say decisively crippling the militant force could mean hitting ISIS in Syria.
President Obama and his aides have debated for years just how involved the United States should be in Syria, and the president has made very clear he doesn't want to get the United States directly involved in somebody else's civil war. But as he thinks about what to do with ISIS, the idea of airstrikes inside of Syria itself is on the table.
ISIS, estimated to be between 10,000 and 17,000 militants strong and very well armed, can easily send reinforcements from Syria when its ranks falter. While the White House remains wary of sending traditional ground troops to Iraq, more covert teams could be sent into Syria, as they were in the failed rescue attempt of James Foley and other hostages.
We continue to explore all options.
They could also be sent into Iraq. During the first U.S. military missions against al-Qaeda in Afghanistan following September 11, airstrikes were more effective if small advance teams called in targets first. Deploying similar advance teams in Iraq is believed to be another option the Pentagon is considering.
Nearly 1 week after a ceasefire was supposed to have gone into effect in Ukraine, Secretary of State John Kerry met with his British counterpart to discuss the imposition of additional sanctions because of what he called Russia's brazen violations of the agreement.
Russia has engaged in an absolutely brazen and cynical process over these last days. There is no secret to any of us, not in this age of all kinds of visibility and technical means and satellites and the ability to watch what people are doing. We know to a certainty what Russia has been providing to the separatists, how Russia is involved with the separatists, and the ways in which Russia has cynically been willing to go to even lead an effort at the UN, even simultaneously as it is continuing to do land grabbing in Ukraine. So we are talking about additional sanctions, additional efforts. I'm confident that over the course of the next days, people are determined to make it clear we're not going to play this game. We're not going to sit there and be part of this kind of extraordinarily craven behavior at the expense of the sovereignty and integrity of a nation.
The death toll in an attack by suicide bombers at a hotel compound in Mogadishu last Friday rose to 25 people, with more than 40 people wounded, Somali officials said.
The central hotel, often frequented by politicians, has been hit by a car bomb and a suicide attack. Gunmen then stormed the hotel mosque and opened fire during Friday prayers. The government sources said an MP and the Mogadishu's deputy mayor were among the dead. The Al-Qaeda-linked group Al-Shabaab has said it was behind the attack.
The abrupt arrest of the mayor of Caracas on accusations that he had plotted an American-backed overthrow of the government threatened to plunge Venezuela into new political convulsions last Friday, as its supporters railed in the capital and pockets of protests erupted elsewhere. The arrest of the mayor Antonio Ledesma last Thursday evening by intelligence agents who fired weapons in the air was viewed by the opposition as the kidnapping of a political rival to President Nicolas Maduro.
Venezuela's president is panicking over falling popularity and has revealed his authoritarian face by arresting Caracas' mayor, the opposition politician's wife said. Antonio Ledesma, 59, was seized by intelligence agents in his office on Thursday and charged the next day for conspiring against President Nicolas Maduro's socialist government, which has been alleging a U.S.-backed coup plot. In an interview on Sunday, his wife, Mitzi, 64, said it was in fact Maduro displaying his dictatorial tendencies by locking up the veteran politician ahead of important parliamentary elections due for later in 2015.
Visiting Paschim Bango Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee last Saturday reassured Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina that she will play a positive role in signing the Teesta water-sharing agreement, soon keeping the interests of Bangladesh and the West Bengal unharmed. In this week's address, the President underscored the importance of continuing to grow our economy and support good-paying jobs for our workers by opening up new markets for American goods and services.
Hi, everybody. At a moment when our businesses are creating jobs at the fastest pace since the 1990s, we've still got to do everything we can to help workers and businesses succeed in the new economy. One that's competitive, connected, and changing every day. One thing we know for certain about businesses in the 21st century is that they'll need to sell more goods and services made in America to the rest of the world. Now, our businesses already sell goods and services in other countries at record levels. Our farmers, our factory workers, and our small businesses are exporting more than ever before. And exporters tend to pay their workers higher wages. More small businesses are using the internet to grow their business by reaching new customers they couldn't reach before, too. As an example, 9 in 10 American small businesses that use eBay as a platform to sell their products are exporters, with customers in more than 30 different countries on average. But there's a lot of room for growth. After all, 95% of the world's potential customers live outside our borders. Many of them live in the Asia Pacific, the world's fastest growing region. And as we speak, China is trying to write the rules for trade in the 21st century. That would put our workers and our businesses at a massive disadvantage. We can't let that happen. We should write those rules. That's why Congress should act on something called Trade Promotion Authority. This is bipartisan legislation that would protect American workers and promote American businesses with strong new trade deals from Asia to Europe that aren't just free, but are fair. It would level the playing field for American workers. It would hold all countries to the same high labor and environmental standards to which we hold ourselves. Now, I'm the first to admit that past trade deals haven't always lived up to the hype. And that's why we've successfully gone after countries that break the rules at our workers' expense. But that doesn't mean we should close ourselves off from new opportunities and sit on the sidelines while other countries write our future for us. We should seize those opportunities. We should make sure the future is written by us. And if we do, we won't just keep creating good new jobs for decades to come. We'll make sure that this century is another all-American century. Thanks, and have a great weekend.
Thank you for watching Millennium Headlines. See you next week.